IGTV?
I'm doing a YouTube right now because I don't know how to do IGTV.
Okay, fine. Very well. So next time. Okay, so then next time, just so you guys know, next time we are putting this video up, not on the Instagram Live.
But on IGTV.
Exactly. And I think we'll still end up doing YouTube as well. But for the phone specifically, that's going to be a majority of IGTV. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, I do want you guys to know, today we do have our son is helping us out with any questions that you guys might have. He's going to be reiterating those to us, and we'll answer them.
Yeah, so if you hear a little high-pitched voice, that's going to be him.
Yes. So, just keep that in mind, you guys. That's what we got going on. Today, we are going to be talking about...
We are talking about the question that so many of us hear time and time again, especially around the holidays, and can be from loved ones. And that question is, oh, why are you still single?
Yes. And so it's a fun question. I mean, it really is. And this is something we've talked about a couple of times. And I want to make it abundantly clear that this is circumstantial. Mm-hmm. It really depends on the person, on the timing, on the vocal tone, everything.
You
the
can
intent.
Have someone ask it, sorry.
No.
You can have someone be asking it because they could be genuinely intrigued and maybe showing some concern for you and want the best interest for you, even though they may not really know how to articulate that. Mm-hmm. Then you have those people who are very condescending, very vindictive about it, so on and so forth. Yeah. So this is
I do want to throw one more in there as well, just a quick option in there. It could also just be like for myself. I've asked that question of women before. I have, but it wasn't for any intent of me actually wanting to know the answer as to why they were still single, or the fact that I was trying to be a jerk or anything. I was actually saying it to actually pay the woman a compliment. It's like, how are you still single? Like, you're amazing. Like that's where I would be coming from me. And so there's many different venues in which we could be looking this from.
Exactly. But we're going to go with the belief and under the assumption, that's what this video is going to be talking about, under the assumption that you are getting this question asked a lot because people are generally showing some concern and possibly trying to figure out if there's something wrong with you and we're actually going to dive into that. So, we were talking about it for a while. We were trying to figure out, okay, so what's the best way we can articulate this? Because we want to make sure that we cover as much as possible to give you guys a very well-rounded answer, essentially. So yeah, I guess you can call us thinkers. We're thinking. Thinking. And one of the things that Nick had brought up was the fact that, well, I mean, he thought it was interesting. What did you say? He thought it was interesting that people would ask that question when we will always ask, we still do, ask the question that, like, oh, like, I can't believe that we were dating at such a young age, like, we were marrying off.
Yeah. Like, so what I was saying was, right now, if you saw somebody that was 15, 16 years old and getting married, you'd be appalled almost. You'd be like, oh my God, no, they're too young to be even knowing what they're getting themselves into, or they don't know what love is, so on and so forth. And yet we still end up using the age thing in regards, and on the opposite side of the spectrum, in that, how is it you don't have kids? How is it that you don't have a relationship? What is, like, what's going on? You're getting up there in years, okay? I can't tell you how many people have told me, oh my God, and it's heartbreaking, it's infuriating, it's insulting. I've had it where people have, like, because us being newlyweds, all right? We're newlyweds. In case you guys didn't know, we got married October 8th, all right?
Just literally a month and a half ago. 2 months ago. Almost 2 months ago. Oh my God.
Wow, yeah. We're putting in the time.
Yeah.
All right, and so a lot of times I've been getting, once people find out that we've been married for X amount of time, they say something along the lines, this is my paraphrase, but along the lines that, oh, you got tied down now, huh? Yeah, no more fun for you. And it's just all these ridiculous expectations we have about relationships, about each other, about what it is that they mean, and it's very upsetting. So I can see how people could be upset by this question.
Exactly. And I think it's very important to understand, one, where the question may be originating from and where it may be stemming from. So this may be quite an outdated question, and a lot of these people who are asking it may not quite realize it. It's one of those things where people have just been sticking to the status quo for very long, and to the point when you ask them the question is, well, why are you asking that? They may just be like, it's the way things have always been.
Yeah.
Okay? And when we really were trying to trace it back down, and the thing that we came to conclusion was, and drawing into history and all that stuff, was that it's really stems from the belief that with women especially, and we have that pressure a lot on us, that the older we get, the more unattractive we become. Not true. And the less likely we are to bear children. Also not true. And so a lot of the people who ask these questions and who still kind of pass it on from generation to generation are not really evaluating what they're asking. They're not asking why they're asking it. They're not really trying to trace it back. It's just, like we said, they are just asking it because it's the way things always have been. They expect you to get married or to be in a relationship.
It's almost like those trigger responses that we have in that it's somebody says hi, you say hi back to like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. How are you? You could be having the worst day, but you can't seem to help yourself but respond with, oh, I'm doing good. Yeah. How are you? And you ask the question back like you actually care. A majority of you don't.
Be like, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? And then, like, if you actually watch, if you were to actually answer, be like, I am actually doing phenomenal. Thank you for asking. You'll probably catch the person off guard. We know that because he's done it.
I do it all the time. My response is always 100% genuine. If I'm not doing great, you'll know because I'm like, I'm doing good. Thank you. And it's good. Good is not great. Let's make that a good is not great.
Right.
Great is not fantastic. Fantastic is not awesome. Awesome is not blessed. There's a hierarchy here in these terminology. So that being said, yeah, I do use interchangeably awesome, great, and fantastic depending on my mood. And that's where I tend to end up having that homeostasis in between those three. And so, yeah, I end up throwing people for a curve. They ask me, they come into my work, they're like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'm doing fantastic. How are you? They're like, fantastic, huh? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, wow. I'm not sure I can keep up with that, but I'm doing good. So, it does throw people for a loop. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then on top of that, too, when you really think about it and you take a couple steps back, you'll also realize that in terms of relationships, that's just another aspect of the kind of level of success that society has painted for us, right? So we're already expected to graduate high school. If you don't, fail. Go to college. If you don't, fail. Get married, which is what the little area they're in. If you don't, fail. Have kids. If you don't, why? Like, it's still mind-boggling, right? Yeah. And then on top of that, you have to retire. If you don't, why? Okay? So in this aspect of relationships and talking about, why you're still single and stuff like that, that is going against the grain. That is not going with society's version of success that they've laid out for you. So for a lot of these people, it's like, but you're not following what we've always done. Why aren't you? You have to. It's the way things have always been, right? And
quick question. Did you say the green? Going against the green?
Going against the grain.
Grain.
He was like...
See, we talked about this earlier, and I should have known what you were trying to say, but...
Going against the grain. But that's essentially what you're doing, okay? You are going against the grain.
The commonly accepted path for your life.
Exactly. And a lot of people tend to see the uncommon as, how would you say?
As unhealthy, as
failure.
Rebellious. Yeah, failure.
Everything but. But in reality, it's not always the case. we see the same thing with entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs, especially for the baby boomers, are just like, what? How can you even think of not having a proper 9-to-5 job? What?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you a quick story about that. Okay, just talk about this, because this really all boils down to expectation. Now, it's societal expectation.
Right.
The other day we had our third Thanksgiving, and it was great, delicious food, amazing. And we're there at the house, chilling, socializing, and a very specific gentleman comes up to me, having just arrived. And the very first question that he asks me, not, hey, Nicholas, how are you? Is everything doing good? How's the home? No. The very first question that I'm asked is, where do you work? Hi, nice to see you too. I work at this place. All right. And that right there was my most recent experience with the societal pressure that we all end up experiencing. And again, it beats us over the head to believe, and it conditions us to believe that there's only one way to a certain type of life, one way to a certain level of happiness, one way to a certain level of success, one way to a certain level of business, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. We are so beaten over the head with these societal expectations. But here's the biggest thing. Society and what is normal is dictated by whom? The masses. Mm-hmm. Looking at the masses, do you want what they want? Do
they have what you want?
Do they have what you want? Okay? All these questions you need to end up asking. That's just two questions, but you need to ask these types of questions, because if you don't want what they have, then you don't do what they do. If you want to have different things, you've got to do and think about different things.
Exactly. So, if you're being asked this question, and should this person not quite understand why you are, and should you be content with where you are, in those cases, it's probably easier to roll it off your shoulders.
So wait, explain that more. What do you mean by where you are and stuff like that?
Well, where you are, like if you are content with
being single? Okay.
If you are content with being single and you're just getting frustrated with these questions, it is something that, and we're gonna get to this point too, but it's something that you're gonna have to just kind of fight against. Does that make sense? Another thing I wanted to talk about, though, when it comes to this question, is also, because it also stems from the categorization, the wanting to define and treat people based on where you are in that level. Specifically in this aspect, in this little corner that we're talking about in relationships, right? If you think about it, one of the first things we will ask someone when we meet somebody for the first time is, oh, where do you work? Like how he was going through and talking about, right? And then it goes on from there. Like, oh, I'm the vice president of such and such company. Oh, that's awesome. Where do you work? Oh, I'm the janitor at the local school. Okay, so it's kind of, do you see how that becomes like a categorization of the person? Which is why we're not really big fans of the question, because it shouldn't define who you are as a person. And a lot of the times people would tend to, whether subconsciously or consciously, judge you and rank you based on where you are in your love life. If you've been single for so long, because we believe that, being in some sort of relationship or marriage at a certain age is viewed as successful, then the longer you go without that, the lower and lower you tend to get ranked in their eyes, because that's what they view as success, right?
Well, that's what they view as success, and that's what they view as happy and healthy.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So it's important to keep that in mind, because that's exactly what they are basing their question off of, whether they know it or not. And that's an entirely different thing. And that's where we had prefaced it in the beginning with, it really is circumstantial, who the person is, why they're asking, what place they have in your life as well to be saying these things, right? So those are three things that you want to evaluate every single time you do get asked this question. Because that is going to determine how you respond, so on and so forth. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you guys so far.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. So when it comes to being asked this question, there are, like we were talking about before, there are various ways you can go about it. Nick, wants to make this reminder soul and clear. Super clear. Yes, but
which reminder?
With
oh yes. And see, this is why we write things down, because I would have forgotten my point. So, when it comes to this question, I know how frustrating it can be. I do know this. Okay, I've experienced it myself, and I've even said it myself, as I said earlier. But let me make something abundantly clear. Your purpose on this earth is not solely to find a partner. Mm-hmm. That might shock some of you. You might have, up until this very point in your life, always believed that your entire life was predicated upon the spouse or partner that you have had in your life. And I know this for a fact because I know a lot of you from high school are still here. And I know that there's some of high school friends of Vanessa's here that are as well. And if I know anything about high school, it's that you judge yourself, you base your significance, your value, and your worth based on the person that you were dating in high school or the people that you were dating. All right? Your existence is not based upon you being in a relationship. You have to understand that there is more to life than just a relationship. And yet we know that intellectually. We're like, oh, well, duh. Of course there's more to life than just a relationship. But yet some of you act like it's the bee's knees, like it's the one-all, be-all for your entire life. Mm-hmm. You guys go chasing after men or women in this hot pursuit, like life and death. And you're just out of breath your entire life, going from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship, or you're just single this entire time, and you're beating yourself up over year after year after year, Christmas after Christmas after Christmas.
Even entertaining cuffing season.
Oh my gosh. I just barely learned about this terminology, cuffing season. I'm not going to tell you what I thought it was. Okay? Very, very awkward terminology. Okay? Anyways. Yeah, you guys, this cuffing season, that's a thing. Should we tell them now?
About what the definition is?
No, well, not the definition. Like, should we tell them now that we're talking about now?
Well, we decided because when we were doing this whole, training session, we're like, you know what, that would be another great topic to talk about with cuffing season, which we are probably going to be covering next week. But, yeah, we'll let you know on that one.
Yeah.
But going back to the whole jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship, if you're doing that in pursuit of hoping that you'll find the person in the hopes that you'll find the happiness, health, success, whatever, like you said, it's not your sole purpose.
You're going to be exhausted. Quite literally, you are going to be exhausted. And then this is what's going to end up happening. You're going to find yourself in a specific situation, in a specific place, in a specific time, at a specific state of being. And you're going to come across somebody that is that person that you know would have been the one for you if you were able to present yourself to them. And this is what I mean. Because you've been so busy chasing and chasing and chasing and exhausting yourself, making yourself sick, getting your heart broken over and over and over and over and over again, that person may or may not glaze over you because you're going to be so beaten down. Now, that being said, we do believe in soulmates. Mm-hmm. So, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll see you and they'll be like, there you are. Yeah. I've been waiting for you.
But I think a lot of this chasing or desire to, even if you're not actively chasing, let's say you are single, but you have this deep-seated desire to want to have a relationship. Obviously, we are human beings. We are made to make those connections. We are not made to be alone. And I don't mean in the sense of, you have to have a husband, but we're social beings. We need to have somebody with us, whether that's a family, friends, whatever, right?
We are social beings, but we are not socialists. Some of you may get that.
I don't.
That's okay.
So I think think it's important to remember that whenever we have that deep desire to chase and we feel that resentment for that person asking us that question in the first place because deep down we really want to find that person, it's because we have this pressure to achieve that. Because like I said, going a few points back, we see being with somebody at a certain time period in our lives as successful. So when we don't get that, we get restless, we get dissatisfied, we get frustrated, so on and so forth. And you may even be completely content, and that's awesome, but you may be getting frustrated with them, again, because they're seeing that as a form of success, right? So it's very important to remember that your sole purpose is not to find love here on earth. You were put on this earth for a much greater purpose than that. Should you find the love of your life here on earth, that is amazing. That is great. They will be an amazing partner in law-abiding citizenry because we don't believe in committing crimes together. But yeah.
I do know a couple of people that do believe that, though. So,
well, I mean... but yeah, it's something to keep in mind as you do that. Another really great thing I think I was going to talk about too was if this is also affecting your mental health, being asked this question because you really deep down want to have that person, you're really starting to question why you really are single, so on and so forth. You should be going through a series of questions to ask yourself as well. Some of these questions could be, you know, maybe the reason why this question that let's say your Aunt Edna asked you, maybe it gets under your skin because it could be really a matter of questioning your self-worth and your self-confidence. Where do you feel? Where are you right now in this life? What do you need to really focus on? Why do you believe that having this relationship will fulfill that? Because we know that, like we were talking about, it's not really the answer that you're quite looking for. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Because, let's say, for example, so let's use me. I had an eating disorder for the longest time, and I didn't know, right? Nick comes into my life. He loves me to death. He showed me that he loves me, all that stuff. But surprisingly to me, he didn't solve my eating disorder problem. I had to solve that. That's my issue. I have to solve it. And so I think if you believe that having someone is going to resolve your self-confidence and self-worth level, that's not necessarily true. Only you can. So if that question really is bugging you, it's like, oh, why are you still single? And it really digs under your skin. Kind of ask yourself a lot of why questions. Try to really trace back to what your real pain point is. Because if this wasn't just a real pain point, then there's something underneath it that's really lying. Does that make sense? It could just be a matter of, if it really is just a matter of, okay, this question's just getting annoying, then it's just a matter of putting that boundary up and be like, hey, stop asking me this. You're getting annoying. You don't need to know about my love life. Get over it. Does that make sense? But if it's much deeper than that, you need to get deep with yourself.
It's a very introspective question, and it's definitely something that you want to address. Even if, again, and this is specifically, this becomes introspective when you are looking to be in a relationship, you are desiring a relationship, and yet you're not in one. All right? You do need to ask yourself these very specific questions. Okay, hey, what is it that I have been doing in past relationships that I have not changed or addressed yet? All right. Is it potentially my blueprint of relationships that's causing the distress of me being alone and my expectations within the relationships I never met, and so therefore I leave or the other person leaves? 3, potentially, is it my taste in men or women? Could that be the problem? I'm always looking out for the bad boys or the bad girls, the twerkers, so on and so forth. Is that my problem? Yeah. All right. So you need to ask yourself some very pointed questions. You really do. It's necessary.
You need to really get clear on what you want in life. Do you really want to be single? Do you want a relationship? Why? So that will also help you get clear with this. So if you do want to be in a relationship but you don't know why you're still single, ask yourself, journal it, write what you're looking for, write the kind of woman you want to be in this relationship, right?
Or man. Or man.
Or man. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to be in this relationship, who you're looking for, the kind of traits you want to bring into this, things you know you need to work on yourself for, right? All that sort of stuff. And then just also just really trusting the process and not trying to take a crash course in the dating pool. Does that make sense? You can't just take a shortcut. You have to, for every person, there's a different time and place. So you need to be patient too as well. And you need to make sure that you're growing constantly, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to already achieved your ideal version of yourself, but you need to constantly be striving to be that person, so that when you meet whoever it is you're supposed to be with, you're both growing together. Does that make sense?
And a very big part of that is you have to recognize the fact that you've never arrived. You're always developing. You're always growing yourself. You need to be, because there's no such thing as anything ever staying the same.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. Nature shows us that very hard truth. It's either growing or it's dying and decaying. There's no in between. There's no plateau for nature. And we are a part of nature. That's what our physical bodies are a part of, right? That's what we're told. And so you have to be perpetually in a state of growth and development. Otherwise, you're not, and you're dying, and you're decaying, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, this question, there is a lot to work with. This is a very multidimensional question. It really is a lot of self-evaluation, evaluation of the person, evaluation of yourself, evaluation of the boundaries you're setting and the expectations you're putting out there for other people. And especially remembering that it is okay to be single if you are content with it.
Some of you need to be single. All right? Hard love real fast. Some of you are so thirsty for a relationship that you will settle for the first beady-eyed person that looks and smiles in your general direction.
What's a beady-eyed person?
A beady-eyed person.
Oh, beady-eyed.
A beady-eyed person, all right? You need to be single. Some of you, not all of you, some of you need to be single. Please give yourself that grace to not have the need to be in a relationship. Chill. Please. You are only causing yourself more and more grief.
No.
Stop being thirsty.
It all comes down to self-evaluation. It all comes down to being aware of your circumstance, being aware of where you are, where you want to be, and where whoever those people are asking that question, where they're coming from. If you know it's your great-grandma who just really cares for you, she's obviously in the status quo, and she asks that question, next time you can just be like, it's okay, Grandma, don't worry about it. Let's talk about something else. Did you see that last Hallmark movie? Go from there, okay? If it is Beatrice from next door who's always complaining and always judging, and she happens to come across and be like, why aren't you still single? Clearly because you don't clean your room. I don't know. I'm making things up. But if she's that kind of person, very vindictive, very just condescending, then maybe you can go ahead and prepare yourself with a response. Like, maybe you can be like, yes, I am still single. Are you still judging other people based on their life stages and their love life? You know? Or maybe if it is an old friend from high school, you can just be like, we don't live in the 18th century anymore. I'm allowed to be independent without a husband or a boyfriend if I choose to, right? Or maybe you can just simply just be blunt and be like, I'm not bringing up my love life on the table for discussion. Thank you so much. And move on. Okay?
Or maybe, because I don't believe you need to respond to this type of question. Personally,
Yeah.
I'm very much of the mindset that you can just smile, nod, and move on. You don't have to address it. You don't have to validate the question with an answer. Again, situation dictates, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's your grandmother, you can't just completely ignore grandma's question. That's very rude. Don't be rude. But if it's just Jenny from the block with the good hair,
I'm Jenny from the block,
then you can absolutely ignore the question. You can absolutely put up that boundary, make it abundantly clear you're not willing to talk about that because it's none of their business, and move on. You don't have to answer the question. So I'm very much, and if you are going to answer the question, I'm very much of the mindset, just do it in love. Understand that they're coming from a place in which they've been conditioned their entire life to believe that that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
All right? So come from a place of love. Love them. Show them that Christ is the one that is making your life relevant, not some boy down the street.
Yeah. Especially because love, being in a relationship, does not define our worth, does not define our success, regardless of how society has made it to be so.
Yeah.
We are here for something so much bigger than that. We are here to create a bigger impact outside of our romantic relationships. And everything comes in time. So, like I said, based on the situation, you evaluate it yourself and go from there. And know that regardless, as long as you are continuing to grow yourself, you are continuing to love yourself and develop that relationship with yourself and others, you have nothing to worry about. Okay?
Oh, you have a lot of other things to worry about. You have to worry about work. You got to worry about food. I'm just saying. Okay.
Anyway, I hope that answered your question. I know it was very general because, like we were talking about and we were prefacing with, situation does dictate. But for the most part, you should be able to evaluate the situation itself and make the appropriate response or lack of response. And remember to continue to give yourself that grace. Absolutely. And know that everything comes in time. Okay?
Yep.
So, with that said, we hope to see you next week. We will be talking about cuffing season.
Such a gross
Especially
term.
because Christmas is around the corner, and we know so many people want to be in a relationship for Christmas, to be under that mistletoe, and to kiss somebody for New Year's Eve, and we're going to be talking more in depth about that. So,
I don't know. I might have to talk about that sooner because that is just a ridiculous... I understand why people do it. Believe me, I do. But
we will talk about it next video.
Stop me now. Stop me now.
Alright guys, we love you guys. If you have any other topics for us, anything you want us to expand on, whether it's in this video or whether it's in previous videos we put up, let us know. We will add it to our list. We will talk about it. We will draft it up. We want to be able to serve you guys better and help you guys understand life better, essentially.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay? So, yeah, I hope that answered it. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your Sunday evening, and we will talk to you soon.
Alrighty, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.